Up behind the net. And it's Werenski. Now Jack Hughes pokes it around McCarr. United States with numbers. Back across it comes. Jack Hughes wins it. The golden goal for the United States. For the first time since the 1980 miracle, the United States takes the gold. Jack Hughes beating Jordan Bennington.
I'm not going to pretend like I'm a big hockey fan. I'm not going to do that. That would be disingenuous of me. I'm not going to pretend like I woke up at 5 a.m. on a Sunday to watch a hockey game in another country. That would be very disingenuous of me. I woke up because I slept in on Sunday. I roll over and went, there was a hockey game? Oh, right. The Olympics are happening. Oh, right. We have a chance to win. Who are we playing again? Canada. The commies from a frozen tundra, and I don't mean Russia. Wait, we beat them? Oh, that's awesome. I watched the highlights. And this game was so amazing that you couldn't help but feel inspired with patriotism. And this is a huge switch from what we were talking about just 1 week ago. 1 week ago, what were we playing clips of? The woke U.S. athletes talking about how ashamed they were to be American, how they feel like they didn't represent America or America didn't represent them. And I'd kind of just forgotten about the Olympics because I wasn't watching them at all. And then you see these clips of the game. You see the clips that happened afterwards. You are filled with patriotism. And it was incredible, even for a bandwagon fan like me. I love the movie Miracle. In fact, I was trying to explain to my daughter the significance of this hockey game, and I said, you know what, I got a better idea. So we had daddy-daughter date night in the middle of Sunday yesterday to watch Miracle with Kurt Russell about the U.S. 1980 hockey team and the win at Lake Placid. It's a great movie. And what's interesting about that movie, if you remember, everybody remembers the call, the Al Michaels call, but the thing that's interesting about that movie is the opening montage. The opening montage is all these scenes of everything in history that was happening in the 1970s. The gas lines, Nixon, Vietnam, Iran, the U.S. Embassy in Iran, the Ayatollah, all that. And just how America kind of needed something. I feel like we're watching the 1970s in reverse, undoing all the bad stuff that happened. And I feel like we've been watching it for Trump's entire second term. And as much as we've been playing the clips of those woke athletes and everybody said, oh, we're not watching the Olympics, it's amazing how quickly everybody was there to say, yeah, go Team USA, woo! Kick those commie bastards all over the ice. My favorite is I put up a few posts about this. And people are like, you didn't kick the crap out of anybody. It was a close game. So, of course, I pull out my Vin Diesel line. Doesn't matter if you win by an inch or a mile. Winning's winning. That's right. And it really was incredible. So now I got to go pull up the last period of the game and actually watch the last period of the game now that I've seen all this. Really, it was incredible. But the thing I was enjoying most was what the players were saying afterwards. These are kids. Some of them are professional hockey players. Most of them are professional hockey players, but who appreciate the fact that they are there to represent their country. This is Jack Hughes. Jack Hughes, that picture of him, he got knocked in the teeth. They got one of them broken in half. The other one got cleared right out. I mean, isn't that why the Canadians just rip their teeth out at a young age so they don't have to deal with the falsies or whatever it is? So he's gushing blood out of his face, and he goes back on the court. If LeBron James got that way, he'd be out for the season.
On the court?
If LeBron James.
On the ice.
On the ice. If LeBron James got a hangnail, he'd be carted off by his stretcher. Let's be real about this. But this kid, he's like, yeah, took a hockey stick to the face, cracked his teeth, got one knocked out. And then this is what he's saying while he's gushing blood wrapped in an American flag afterwards.
Can you just describe the emotions of this moment right now?
This is all about our country right now. I love the USA. I love my teammates. It's unbelievable. The USA Hockey Brotherhood is so strong. And we have so much support from ex-players. I'm so proud to be American today.
This was
Proud.
It was amazing. My favorite part was actually this line right here, where you kind of hear the whistling through his teeth as he's talking. You kind of hear the lisp that is now developed because he's missing a few things. And then he says this during the press conference.
I'm lucky I'm from the best country in the world, and we got great dentists there too, so I'm lucky I'm American, and they're going to fix me right up.
Standing there listening to the anthem, what's going through your head?
Just so proud. I'm so proud to be American. I'm so proud of this group. I'm so happy that we could win. You know, we have so many people here supporting us. We have so many people back home supporting us, and you know, we're so thrilled with how this whole tournament played out.
I gotta say, just that gave me a little bit more faith. There's actually this video that the audio didn't work for the show. There's this really adorable video of a Pee Wee League hockey team, and they're playing somewhere on the East Coast. And what happens is they're about to have a face-off, and somebody announces that Team USA won the gold. And these little kids in all their hockey gear, they're adorable. My nephew plays hockey. I find it adorable, even though I'm not the biggest hockey fan. They just start celebrating in the middle of the game, and they run over to the benches, then they run over to each other's benches. There's another one of another Pee Wee League team where both teams that are fighting each other 2 seconds beforehand are now all zipping around the ice together, celebrating, throwing their gloves in the air like they won. I wasn't alive for the first USA win during the Olympics, okay? But this is the way people who are there describe it to me all the time. You know, I grew up playing what's it called? Bubble hockey, and it was always U.S. versus the Russians. You know, the sticks.
Oh, it's like
rod hockey, whatever you call it.
Yeah, it's like foosball, but it's got the clear bubble over the top, and you got the sticks.
And the scoreboard, and the puck comes out of the middle. By the way, those things could take a beating, those games. I love those suckers. We had them in the youth lounges growing up. Those were great. I grew up on the legend of the 1980 Olympics, and so did these kids, by the way. And when he talks about the national anthem, I'm going to play this for you because they are so off-key. And they are so bad, but they are all hugging each other during the national anthem, and you can see the pride on their faces. It was amazing, really amazing. This game really had everything.
Little pitchy, dog.
A little pitchy. Better than Roseanne. Little pitchy right there. So at the end of the game, for those of you who may have missed this, Johnny Gaudreau was one of their players who was killed by a drunk driver not too long ago. And after they win, they took his jersey for a lap around the ice. And then they went and got his 2 little kids out of the crowd and posed them with the team. The NBC anchor was crying. Everybody was crying. There was something for everybody. The human emotion of this story, absolutely incredible. Really, just incredible. Then, of course, there was this moment where President Trump calls them. Why Kash Patel is at the Olympics? I don't know. I have no idea. Why the FBI director?
Just because he can, I guess. Right?
I guess. Look, if you'd sent Marco Rubio, Secretary of State, the highest diplomat, he's got a lot going on right now. I don't think you should send Marco Rubio. Maybe it's just, who's not doing anything right now? Where's Kash Patel? Let's send him on over there. Kash Patel drinking beer with everybody in the locker room. By the way, for everybody mad about this on the other side of the aisle, I'd rather Kash Patel be drinking beers with Team USA than Senator Chris Van Hollen be drinking margaritas with Kilmar Abreu Garcia, a human trafficker. So spare me the nonsense. But I love the call with President Trump because Kash Patel brings in his phone. You know, it's also funny. Kash Patel on his phone, it says DT. That's how he's got Donald Trump. It flashes a few times there. You see it. It just says DT. Oh, yeah, we're bros. I call him DT, the President of the United States.
1 minute. 1 minute. And by the way, your goalie played not bad.
Howie, say hi to him.
How you doing, Don?
I have seen hockey goalies have slightly worse games. Unbelievable, and you were all unbelievable. And the team is pretty good you played. I don't know if we'll ever get anytime soon, right? And, you know, I tell you what, I just told my people 2 minutes ago, I didn't know they'd be calling. I said, we're giving the State of the Union speech on Tuesday night. I could send a military plane or something. But if you would like to, it's the coolest night. It's the biggest.
We're in.
Yeah.
Can you pick us up in Miami on Tuesday morning?
Yeah, Tuesday morning.
Close the northern border.
We'll get cash and we'll get the military to get you guys over.
Let's go.
Let's go. That's right. Team USA is going to State of the Union. Now, I did kind of like this part where he was talking about the girls' team a little bit here. Here, listen to this a little carefully.
Boys are going to the State of the Union.
The nice thing about being president is I can tell you, you don't have to worry about the weather or landing. So we don't care if it's snowing, if it's the worst blizzard. We sail through that sucker just like you did on the ice.
Thank you, Mr. President.
Right. Now, we'll do it at the White House anytime. What would really be cool, and we'll do the White House the next day, we'll just have some fun. We have medals for you guys. And we have to, I must tell you, we're going to have to bring the women's team. You do know that.
Absolutely. We're going to have to bring the women's team. I'll say, in defense of Team USA, the women's team, I thought, and I saw part of that game too, I thought that was great to watch. Really, it was great to watch. It's great that they won. They've declined the invitation to go to the White House. And I got to say, ladies, really stupid. Because a lot of people like me who make fun of women's basketball and women's soccer, we said, you know, we really kind of enjoy this women's hockey thing. You had a chance to be in front of a new audience and grow the sport when it's in a fledgling state right now on a professional level. And you could have grown it. Really dumb to not go. Now, if you want to be mad about something about all this, ask why Team USA got an invitation to the White House before the Seahawks did. I'm still wondering when that invitation's going to show up. But this is great. They're going to be there when we have State of the Union tomorrow night, which you can listen on the show. By the way, don't forget, we will still have the show tomorrow, 3 to 6 p.m. We'll be broadcasting from Daniel's Broiler for our State of the Union event. We'll be live streaming after the State of the Union with Brandy Cruz, John Carlson. They'll all be part of the fun. We will discuss. I'm sure there's going to be a big shout out for Team USA. So Team USA is going to be at this thing. But lots of Democrats are boycotting to have their own event on the Capitol steps. You know what I think we should do? Tell me what you think of my idea. I think any Democrat who doesn't show up, we give up their seat to a member of Team USA. And you just have them wearing the jerseys over the suit jackets and the ties right there in the well of Congress. I think that would be great. You know what? Forget it. Just give them the seats. Impeach them all. Just give them the seats and put them right there. I think they do a better job than most of the Congress people or senators or whoever's boycotting this thing anyway. But then there were the bad takes. So as much fun as all of this is, there were the bad takes that came afterwards. So here's one from our very own Jay Inslee. I saw this. Oh, my God, I saw this. Hang on, I got to get in Jay Inslee mode around here. 2 things we love. Our gold medal hockey teams, the entire nation of Canada. What the hell does that even mean? So Team USA just wins, and you're talking about how much you love Canada? Go move to Canada then. Please get out of Idaho, go move to Canada. I think we'd all thank you, and they'd be very mad at us for more than just losing the game. This is how you get an entire generation of people growing up on participation trophies. You know the best part of the game after the national anthem and after the tribute to their dead teammate and after all this was when they were handing out those stuffed critters to the Canadian team is like, well, you get your little stuffed critter. Sorry you lost to the Americans, who this is our fourth national sport, and you got beaten in your first national sport by the Americans. Here's your little stuffed critter. We're going to hand you. Wow, talk about adding insult to injury, right? I'm not familiar with the stuffed critters thing. Is this something they normally do?
I have no idea. I don't watch the Olympic stuff, summer or winter.
I don't usually.
Not for me.
Not my jam, but this swept up in, by the way. And the fact that they won on George Washington's birthday. And the Canadians keep going, we had a better team, we had a better team, we had a better team. Yeah, well, the British had a better team too, and we still beat them, didn't we? Also for me, just a little personal enjoyment. And this is for me, and maybe everybody else doesn't care that much, but for me, I really like this. You've got Canada saying we're going to give Hamas statehood, right? We're going to give them their own state. How does Team USA respond? Their women's goalie, nice Jewish girl, Erin Frankel. I'm going to keep you scoreless for 3 periods and send you home losers. Then, what do you have? You've got Jack Hughes, whose father's Catholic and whose mother's Jewish, right? Nice Jewish boy. I'm going to score the game-winning goal and send you home losers. For me, that was very enjoyable. In fact, we got Jewish Halloween coming up, otherwise known as Purim. I want to go dressed as Jack Hughes. If I can find a Team USA hockey jersey, can't find them online. Went looking already. I'll black out a few teeth. I'll put a little fake blood on there. I'll get myself a little wig that looks like his longer, greasy hair because my receding hairline ain't doing me any favors. And I will wrap myself an American flag, and I will celebrate a sport I have never really followed before in my life. That'll make a great Purim costume. I'll wear it to the studio that day if I can actually do it. There was something for everybody in this. There really was. But this was the patriotism we all needed. And I don't care if you're a bandwagon person. I don't care at all. Come along for the ride. I'm one of you. It was a lot of fun.
We had a caller that called in and said apparently Cash Patel is a hockey fan. That's why he was there. He heard it on another podcast.
Okay.
Yeah.
That makes a lot of sense. So it'll be like Donald Trump sitting there. All right, who wants to go to the Olympics? And Cash just shoots up there. I love hockey. I love hockey. All right, Cash, you get to go. Take Air Force One or Air Force Two. Don't take Air Force One. Take Air Force 2 or 3 or 4. Borrow JD's plane. You can take JD's plane. You go to the games. You got to send somebody. It's a major national event. You send them out there, right? It's fine by me. So what do you think of my idea? Should we replace all the Democrats that are boycotting the State of the Union with Team USA? I think it's a great idea. What do you think? You give us a call or a text at 206-421-5757. That's 206-421-5757. Somebody wrote this online, and I thought it was so true because of how woke sports have been recently. In a world full of Megan Rapinoe's, Colin Kaepernick's, and LeBron James, be a Jack Hughes. I like that one a lot. Lots more to discuss as the show continues, my friends. When we come back, apparently the Seattle sports people are mad at yours truly. We'll tell you what they're all ticked off about when we come back. You're listening to the Ari Hoffman Show on Talk Radio 570 KVI. Wow, Forrest Cat is mad at me over on the text line. Says he's going to find a different conservative show that doesn't talk about sports. Good luck finding a conservative show today that's not talking about the Olympics, because this is the most American patriotic thing we've seen in a really long time. Yes, we don't do a sports show here, by the way, guys. This is about patriotism. This is about nationalism. It's got Donald Trump rolled into it. It's got Kash Patel. It's got everything. Why wouldn't you want to listen to it?
Yeah, and give us 20 minutes. We're kind of like the weather in Seattle. We'll start talking about the awful, horrible stuff happening in the world soon enough.
Yeah, we will definitely get to it. Garrett, I even threw in the whole stuff with the State of the Union to give you a little bit of the politics there. Come on, guys, a little bit. A little bit. This one here from Barbara. Giving those seats away is a great idea, Ari. There should be consequences for bad behavior. Or I just say, we just need seat fillers. They do it on Broadway, right? They do it for concerts. Don't have enough people coming? Let's get some seat fillers.
Yeah, if they're going to be empty. They do that the same with some boxing matches in Vegas sometimes.
Sure.
They call it, what do they call it? Painting the room.
There's a term for it.
Yeah, I think it's called something like that. So it's like if your tickets aren't selling well, then it's like, well, let's move everybody over here where the cameras are.
I see.
And make it look like it's like the crowd
like
is
a Joe
huge.
Biden rally. Or perhaps a Kamala Harris rally.
Exactly.
We painted the room a little. That's excellent, Kevin. Thank you for that. That's very, very good. Some people here are hitting me with this. They said the Seahawks declined going to the White House. Okay, I only saw online rumors about that. I didn't see anything real. I don't think they've been invited yet. In fact, I saw the sports pages around here talking about how they haven't been invited yet. That was the big deal. In fact, I reached out to the White House asking, hey, guys, I kind of want to tag along with the Seahawks, and I kind of want to go to the White House thing. So can you, hurry up with the invitation? So hopefully we'll have news on that if and when it actually happens. Speaking of sports, by the way, so over the weekend, I found out that a bunch of people in the online sports world are very, very mad with me. Why? Because I published the report that I got the documents from Bob Ferguson's office that the NBA has concerns about the millionaires tax, that the NBA has concerns about all the layoffs in the Seattle area, that the NBA has concerns about the general economic climate around here. They're mad at me. Why is that my fault? Oh, they're a bunch of lefty Looney Tunes. If you're mad, go take it out on the Democrats who are proposing these taxes. If it costs you the Sonics, you going to be mad at me for publishing that document? Yeah, we can add that to my Twitter bio. The Sonics didn't come to Seattle because of Ari Hoffman. No, it's because of the Democrat taxes. You want to be mad at somebody? Call Bob Ferguson. You want to be mad at somebody? Call Jamie Peterson. You want to be mad at somebody? Call Lori Jenkins and take it up with them. Don't get mad at me about this. I actually did an interview with one of the local sports shows. I don't know if it premieres today or tomorrow, where they asked me some legit questions. This guy was very, very fair. But he was asking me about the online controversy, and I'm like, I'm sorry, I'm not in these groups. I don't know what they're talking about there, but he was informing me. They're very mad at me. Oh, the MAGA guy got the story. Does that make it less true? Are the emails not true? You know what I said during the interview? I said, go do the same public disclosure request I did. In fact, you have an easier time of it. All you have to do is file a public disclosure request. I want the documents that Ari Hoffman got. You just have to go to Bob Ferguson's office and say, I want those documents, where it shows that Adam Silver, commissioner of the NBA, has serious concerns about Seattle, about Washington. And this meeting was about trying to put him at ease. So rather than getting mad at me about it, go get the same documents yourselves. Here, I just told you how to do it. I assume Click Daniels is going to do it any day now. Get those files so he can do the story himself. We go to the Warrior Injury Law studio line. Take a call from James in Tacoma. James, what's going on?
Yeah, speaking of Bob Ferguson, unless he did things illegally, they made exception for the hockey where businesses are supposed to not sell alcohol from 2 a.m. to 6 p.m. But yesterday, bars opened early and wide packed full at 5 a.m.
You're not complaining about this, are you, James? You're just saying if he has these rules about enforcing the law, he should do it equally, is what you're saying, right?
Yeah, completely how packed the bars were. They showed the news 4:30, bars open 4 o'clock.
Yeah, they're trying to make up some extra business. That's kind of funny. I don't know who would want to have a beer at 5 a.m., but I guess it's 5 p.m. somewhere, right? Appreciate the call, James. Appreciate you being part of the show. You want to be part of the show, give us a call or text at 206-421-5757. Greg says over on the text line, he wants you to fill all the vacant seats at the State of the Union with cardboard cutouts of Donald Trump. Okay. That's a little triggering to me, Greg, because do you remember when they were playing baseball and other sports during COVID with the cardboard cutouts, and teams were actually charging you? You could have a cardboard cutout of you put at the game in the stands. Man, they're going to study that time in history down the road and say these people were crazy. We go back to the Warrior Injury Law studio line, take a call from Daniel in Marysville. Daniel, what's up?
Man, I think you got a great idea. And Trump would take advantage of it and really take a pause, say, hey, guys, look at our great team here and how they won, celebrate them. And, it's a great idea because how these guys just, I don't know. I have nothing good to say about the Dems stepping back and boycotting and all that. It's like they're not taking their job seriously. It's kind of sad.
Yeah, it is. And also, let's celebrate our heroes. Look, the State of the Union is all theater. We're going to talk about this a lot tomorrow. But I like when the theater is something I enjoy. And right now, we're going to see a good show tomorrow. And Team USA being there, that's going to be incredible. In fact, I think President Trump should invite all the Olympians. There's some from Washington who won medals too. Invite them all and put them front and center and say, this is what you get with a merit-based society. You have to work hard, you put those efforts in, and look, you can be a gold medal winning Olympian. And I think there's no better thing for American exceptionalism than doing that.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Exactly, man.
Appreciate the call, Daniel. Appreciate you being part of the show. You want to be part of the show, give us a call or text at 206-421-5757. That's 206-421-5757. Also, I want to take this opportunity to remind everybody, we have giveaways today. That's right. We're giving away fantabulous prizes today and the rest of this week. We are giving away 2 tickets to see Santana and the Doobie Brothers August 6th at White River Amphitheater. So over the course of the show, I'm going to give out a keyword. And when you hear that keyword, you're going to text it in for your chance to win. Not going to be right now. You have to keep listening to the show. But yeah, that's how you win 2 tickets to see Santana and the Doobie Brothers August 6th at White River Amphitheater. You got to keep listening to the show for your chance to win. When we come back, my friends, lots more to discuss, including another assassination attempt on President Trump. Is that 3, 4, 5? I've kind of lost track at this point. We'll tell you all about it when we come back. You're listening to the Ari Hoffman Show on Talk Radio 570 KVI. I love all the people trying to convince me to love hockey more by suggesting movies over on the text line. This one right here from John in Auburn. He says, watch the movie Slapshot. I've seen Slapshot. Great movie, by the way. Mystery Alaska comes to mind. And if we're talking about hockey movies, can we, of course, talk about the Mighty Ducks? 1 and 2 especially. 3 is okay. Wait, you're telling me that the Olympics are bigger than the Junior Goodwill Games? Because I thought that's what it was all about back then. Not even like the Junior Olympics, the Junior Goodwill Games. How much did Goodwill pay to have that put? That and Hendricks Hockey. How much did they pay to have their logos right there in that movie? Anyway, Team USA going to State of the Union. Really awesome. But a whole bunch of Democrats aren't. And John Fetterman was actually calling them out for this in a recent interview.
No, I do plan to attend, and I hope that this year they don't put up those silly paddles and all those kinds of weird protests. That's like, you don't have to agree with whatever you're going to hear, but like last year, I mean, it just made us look like children, and just exactly, yeah. Thank you. I can see you're referencing that. It's just like, show up or not, but just do that kinds of thing and like have some dignity and just, we can agree or disagree and not call people names or behave in such ways like that.
We'd all be a lot better off if we acted in that manner.
Everybody's right. So do you think the Democrats aren't showing up because of John Fetterman? Because John Fetterman called them childish? Because that was before they all announced that they weren't coming. He said, you're not going to do the stupidity with the paddles again, are you? Because that was really, really dumb. Is any of this helping them electorally? This is CNN.
Electoral races nationwide should stand as a wake-up call for Democrats, because take a look here. The race raiders, governors post-2026 election, at least tilting to the Republicans. Look at this. A majority, 26. That is, at this point, the number of governors that are expected, at least tilting towards the Republican Party at this point. Democrats come in at just 20. The rest of the races are toss-up. Of course, you sum up to 50. And I will note that the Republicans right now hold a 26 to 24 gubernatorial seat advantage. So at this point, it doesn't look like Republicans on the net and the aggregate are actually going to lose any governorships. In fact, when you add in those toss-ups, they may gain. So this should stand as a major wake-up call to Democrats, because if there's a wave building, it has not, at least at this point, hit the state level when it comes to governorships.
Because you can only say, I hate, no, so long until people say, well, what's your idea? Democrats don't have any good ideas. They're not pushing anything good. It's just, we don't like the orange man. Orange man bad. Super, super bad, and he's only getting worse. What's your idea? You don't like what ICE is doing? You don't like what Border Patrol is doing? What is your solution? Well, if they can't find a solution, let's just try and kill the guy again. According to the Post-Millennial, the Secret Service shot and killed a man in his 20s on Sunday after that man broke through the secure perimeter of President Donald Trump's Mar-a-Lago residence in Palm Beach, Florida. The man appeared to carry a shotgun and a can of fuel. The unauthorized entry occurred around 1:30 a.m. when the man was spotted near the north gate of the property. Secret Service agents and a deputy from the Palm Beach County Sheriff's Office confronted the man and shot him, at which point he was pronounced dead. The Secret Service released a statement on the matter, saying on February 22nd around 1:30 a.m., a male in his early 20s was shot by U.S. Secret Service agents and a deputy from Palm Beach County Sheriff's Office following an unauthorized entry into the secure perimeter at Mar-a-Lago. The individual, whose identity is being withheld pending notification of next of kin, was pronounced deceased. The individual was observed by the north gate of the Mar-a-Lago property carrying what appeared to be a shotgun and a fuel can. U.S. Secret Service agents and the deputy confronted the individual, and shots were fired by law enforcement during the encounter. No U.S. Secret Service or sheriff's personnel were harmed. There were no Secret Service protectees present at the location at the time of the incident. So what's going on here? Well, when we did find out the person's identity, his name is he's a 21-year-old Austin Martin, who was shot and killed during the unauthorized entry. According to texts obtained by TMZ, what was his big beef with Trump? I don't know if you read up on the Epstein files, But evil is real, and this is his big beef. The Epstein file. It's a brain rot. It's a real brain rot. Guys, you want to go look up the Epstein files? They're online. Go find what you want. But the way the media keeps going after this, even the New York Post, I'm going to call out my friends at the New York Post. Do you know what story they put up yesterday? And I fell for it. I fell for the clickbaitiness. Apparently, Jeffrey Epstein's Lolita Express is sitting in a boneyard, like the movie Con Air. It's sitting in an airplane boneyard. So the New York Post sent a reporter out to look at this plane that's been sitting there since what? 2016, 2017? Oh, nasty looking. What did Jeffrey Epstein leave behind in the plane? And every room they go to, I'm waiting for the big reveal. So they start in the bathroom. Okay, what dirty things are we going to find in the bathroom? Well, we found baby oil, but not as much as P. Diddy had. There's like one thing of it. Oh, there's some baby powder, too. And, oh, look at this. Look at this. There's towelettes emblazoned with his monogram on it. Oh, okay. All right, what's next? Well, we're moving through the cabin, and look here. There's couches on the private plane. Okay, what else? And look, there's mold in the corner. Quick, let's go to the cockpit. Let's see what happened there. And you're missing half the parts because they sold the engines and sold all this other stuff, and it's brain rot. It's really brain rot. But that's what this guy said he was all on about? The Epstein files? Guys, I really want to know from you, do you really care about any of this, or are you over it? Is it you were hoping for something, it wasn't there, even if you were hoping Trump was going to be in it more? Because the way that CNN and MSNBC are still running this stuff, what have they actually found? In fact, right now, it just seems like it's, well, everybody was in the Epstein files because Epstein liked to list everybody and pretend he knew everybody. He was that kid in your class who pretends he's friends with everybody and nobody knows who he is. That's what it kind of seems like at this point.
Yeah, everybody out there saying the conspiracy stuff, like deep internet stuff, where it's like it's a bunch of people, powerful, rich, that are just controlling the world and eating children and trafficking children. Because that's actually one of the things that I hear the most out there on social media.
Yeah.
But it's more like what you're saying. This pervy dude he was friends with many powerful people on all sides.
Yep.
And it's the 90s, and he threw parties with young, attractive women there. And so a lot of these powerful horn dog dudes were showing up.
Yes.
And horrific things happened.
Yes. But what we haven't found right now is, look, I still haven't seen all the stuff on Bill Clinton.
Right.
And there's pictures of that. There are pictures of that. And I still haven't seen the goods on any of that. Why aren't we seeing any of that stuff? Is it not there? Is it, well, Bill Clinton was a horn dog and liked to take pictures with young women? We don't know. We don't know. We're still waiting for more evidence. There's what, 3 million documents? 3 million. You know how long? That'll take 16 years to go through if you go through every single page. So what's everybody doing it? They put it into AI and they go, find me every mention of Trump. Find me every mention of Clinton. And you know what? AI doesn't get everything. AI misses stuff. Unless you go through these one at a time, you're not going to find what you're looking for. You know who else isn't finding what he's looking for? Gavin Newsom. His book tour launch was a little rocky, not finding the support he's looking for. Instead, he found a lot of criticism. We'll tell you about his very, very racist comments when we come back. You're listening to the Ari Hoffman Show on Talk Radio 570 KVI. So Gavin Newsom is promoting his new memoir, Young Man in a Hurry. Why does a politician put out a memoir when they're not close to dead or retiring? Because they want to run for office. What's going to be in Gavin Newsom's memoir? Well, I arrested a surfer during COVID with the entire armada of every law enforcement thing I could find because he violated the rules. Well, I locked everybody down and I went to the French Laundry. I let BLM destroy parts of Los Angeles. Oh, and then I let all the anti-ICE people, no Kings people do it again. What's he going to put in his memoir? So he's in Atlanta, Georgia. And Gavin Newsom thinks he's sitting pretty because it's a black audience and he figures they're all a bunch of liberals. And then goes and says this.
I'm not trying to be someone I'm not. I can't do that anymore. I tried that for a long time, and I wasn't happy. And I say to kids all the time, learn from, don't follow others. You know, your expression's unique. Nobody else has it. And I've really just, the way we're doing, some of you may have seen some of my social media. You know, I'm on the other, you know this, I'm on the other side. You know, I just am. I'm on the other side. You know, I don't want to dream of regretting anymore. No coulda, woulda, shoulda. It's all out there. I just want to put it all out there. I'm not trying to impress you. I'm just trying to impress upon you. I'm like you. I'm no better than you. You know, I'm a 960 SAT guy. And, and I'm not trying to offend anyone, trying to act all there if you got 940. But literally a 960 SAT guy. I cannot, you've never seen me read a speech because I cannot read a speech. Maybe the wrong business to be in. My dyslexia, I haven't overcome dyslexia. I'm living with it. I was the guy in the back of the classroom and my head down, just praying the teacher didn't call on me. I went through, I think I lost count of how many schools I had to go to.
Okay. Can we dissect that for a second? Let's start with the first offensive thing he says to a room of black people. I'm just like you. I did badly on my SATs? What the hell is that supposed to mean? You're assuming that everybody in that room, because of their skin color, did badly on the SATs? Okay. I assume everybody in that room did badly on the SATs because they came to a Gavin Newsom speech, which shows something about their intelligence level. Has nothing to do with their skin color or anything else. Why would you want to see Gavin Newsom talk? Then what's the next thing? That he can't read, so he's just like them? Talk about the soft bigotry of low expectations that Gavin Newsom has for a black audience. And then we found out something new about Gavin Newsom. He's dyslexic. Are you trying to check a box because you're the whitest white guy ever? Oh, later on, he was talking about how he didn't grow up wealthy and he was poor. This is the guy who grew up, and all his pictures from college, he's wearing that scarf to make it look like you're smart, but really it just shows you're a privileged you-know-what. Gavin, who says, I grew up poor, was in the San Francisco Chronicle in 1991, Children of the Rich. And he looks like that kid you want to punch his face in high school, just with the hair and the moose and everything. He looks like that kid. Caption, Gavin Newsom with Paul Moen, Andrew Getty, Bill Getty. Oh, the Gettys. Okay, megabucks. Posing for a Children of the Rich feature that ran in the San Francisco Chronicle on December 12th, 1991. But he's just like them. He's the poor. So let me see what he said to the black audience here. He called them dumb, said they didn't do well on their SATs, said they couldn't read, and said they were poor. And there's people in that audience laughing and giggling. And it doesn't sound like that awkward laughter where you're like, okay, crazy man, what are you actually saying here? Holy cow. The soft bigotry, of low expectations of that entire speech. What's he going to identify as next? Well, I used to be LGBTQ, and then I had my first wife, and then I cheated on her, and then I had a Kimberly Guilfoyle, and I cheated on her, and then I had my other wife, and then I cheated on her with that campaign staffer who's my best friend's wife. What are we going to do next year? What is the guy going to say? He will say anything to get elected, really will say anything. The good news is even lamestream media was covering this massive gaffe. So I kind of hope that's the end of the Gavin Newsom honeymoon. We got a whole lot more to discuss as the show continues, including the Democrats' new ridiculous claim about all of you who said no to the income tax. We'll tell you what it is when we come back. You're listening to the Ari Hoffman Show on Talk Radio 570 KVI. Welcome to the Ari Hoffman Show on Talk Radio 570 KVI, your home for the politically homeless, streaming live at KVI.com and the KVI app. If you want to be part of the most dangerous show on the airwaves, call or text the Warrior Injury Law Studio line at 206-421-5757. That's 206-421-5757. Coming up this hour, Democrats are so freaked out by how many of you signed up in opposition to their income tax that now they're claiming it was all fraud. But before we get to any of that, my friends, time for your chance to win fantabulous prizes. That's right. We're giving away two tickets to see Santana and the Doobie Brothers August 6th at White River Amphitheater. Now, all you have to do is enter the keyword I give you. You're going to text it to the number I give you, not your name, not your address, not your phone number, just the word, and only one time. And you'll be entered to win these fantabulous prizes. Today's word is grove, Grove, as in China Grove, by the Doobie Brothers, which you can see at the White River Amphitheater if you text the word grove, Grove, to 206-421-5757. That's 206-421-5757. And definitely don't write anything like, hey, Ari, here's the word. It doesn't work that way. Just the word. We're like Liam Neeson. If you win, we will find you and reward you. That's what we will do. So, yes, text the word Grove to 206-421-5757. That's 206-421-5757. Over the weekend, a lot of people signed up to oppose the Democrats' income tax. A lot of people. 110,000 by my last count. That's on top of the 60,000 that signed up in opposition to the bill when it was in the Senate. Now it's over in the House. So you get 60,000 from the Senate. You get 110,000 when it's over in the House. That's a lot of people. It shattered all the records. The previous record was people in opposition to property taxes, and that was about 40,000 people signed in. So now you're looking at 160,000 people. Well, you remember after the 60,000 signed up, the Democrats started saying it was all bots. Bots. It was all bots. Brian Haywood paid programmers to develop these bots and go in and fake everything. Brian Haywood and Let's Go Washington and Steve Gordon. They all did it themselves, right? Yeah, one little teeny tiny problem. When a whole bunch of people like me filed public disclosure requests to say, what evidence do you have for claiming it was all bots? They didn't have any. And all of a sudden they start retreating from that narrative. Couldn't prove it at all. Gee, do you think that maybe an income tax that Washingtonians have voted down 11 times in the past, that maybe they don't want it? Maybe. Just a hunch. You think maybe when they passed an initiative of just a couple of years ago, doubling down on the fact that they didn't want this thing, that might be a sign they don't want an income tax? Everybody on our side of the aisle was posting against the income tax, putting up the link and saying, sign up here. I think I myself, just yesterday, did 7 or 8 posts about it. Every time I did, I was tracking the numbers. A whole bunch of you signed up and up and up and up and up until you get to 110,000 people. Well, Democrats can't have this. They need to claim fraud. It's all fraudulent. Those Republicans, they destroyed our bot narrative. So now we need to claim it's fraud. All fraud. So what do? They send out their basement blogger, the Northwest Progressive Institute. The Northwest Progressive Institute is one dude in his basement. Okay? And he says he has done an analysis and that there's 37,000 fraudulent entries in this opposition between doubles and between people who didn't actually sign up. I did see one person signed up as Bob Ferguson. So let's say you're accurate. Okay, let's give you 40,000. Let's say 40,000 aren't real. So 110,000 plus the 60,000. You want to take out the 40,000. You're left with 130,000 people signed up against this bill. Still shattered records. Here's something else, though. Some of you may be saying, oh, yeah, somebody in their basement on our side thought this was funny. There's something about this that doesn't make sense. Let me explain why. a whole bunch of the entries this person is claiming are fraudulent are real members of local unions signed up in opposition of it. Union rolls are not public. How'd they get the union rolls? Also, here's something else. All these signups were done in the middle of the night / early morning. It wasn't Ari Hoffman doing it, who's the only one who's awake at that hour. It's like somebody in India was doing this or somebody else. Why'd they all come in at the same time? Could it be so a basement blogger could claim they're all fraudulent? It's all fraudulent. None of these people actually exist. But it gave the left enough to push their false narrative. Because what do you know? Sophia Sostrin from the Seattle Times picks up the story and says, oh my God, it's fraudulent. None of these people actually signed up. Whoa, whoa, whoa. Hang on. So you're saying for the first time ever, the progressives want to investigate fraud? Oh, you want to investigate fraud now, do you? Okay, let's start with the daycares. All right, let's start with votes. Wait. You didn't verify these people's identity who signed up. You can enter whatever you want. You just have to click the I'm not a bot. Are you saying we need to verify the identity of voters before they register? I think that's a great idea. I think we should do that right now, as a matter of fact, so we don't have this alleged fraud ever again. I think we should totally verify everybody's identity for public comment. You know what I think would be better? I think you're only allowed to publicly comment at these city hall meetings when you live in that city. I think it'll save a lot of time, so you don't have the people going from city to city to city who just like testifying for these things. What do you think? Should we do that? The Northwest Progressive Institute and the Seattle Times, by running this nonsense, have proven that we need voter fraud protections, have proven that we need voter ID, have proven that we need to investigate fraud. Well, thank you, Seattle Times. And thank you to the Northwest Progressive Institute for making the point more eloquently than I ever could. So I assume that now you guys will call for voter identification before you sign in to register for or against an initiative, right? I assume now you guys are going to claim that we need voter fraud to make sure that whoever's voting in our elections is a real person, right? Right? Yeah, you know that's not going to happen. They're just not happy that 170,000 of you said no to this income tax. And here's something else. Anytime I put out one of those posts, more and more people said they had no idea there was even an income tax coming. How many times have you had the conversations with your friends where they didn't know there was an income tax coming? So, my friends, we should thank the lefties here who are trying to debunk all this and saying, oh, it's not legitimate. So, if you want to prove that you are a legitimate person and not a bot and not fraudulent, you can call 1-800-562-6000. That's 1-800-562-6000 and say no to Senate Bill 6346. That's no to Senate Bill 6346. If you can't remember the number, that's fine. Just say no to the income tax. No under any circumstances. If they say the millionaire tax, you say you could call it that, but we know it's an income tax. Absolutely not. We don't want it. This is how desperate the Democrats are. This is how desperate. Because when even the NBA is saying it's a cause for concern and they may not be willing to bring the Sonics back because of the millionaires tax that I'm putting in giant air quotes because it's actually an income tax, you know they've got big problems. This is how desperate they are. They will say anything. Now watch, the hearing is tomorrow. You only have until 7 a.m. tomorrow to sign up in opposition to this thing. If you don't want to call in, you can do it on leg.wa.gov and just search up Senate Bill 6346. You know, tomorrow, somebody like Jamie Peterson or Lori Jenkins is going to say, it's all Brian Haywood and Steve Gordon and let's go Washington. You know that's what they're going to do. Melt the phone lines. Melt the phone lines. Melt the website. Crash the website. Say no to Senate Bill 6346. Call them at 1-800-462-6000 or you go on their website, leg.wa.gov, and search up Senate Bill 6346 and say, no, absolutely not, under any circumstances. The Democrats know their policies are unpopular. Why do you think they're rolling back the estate tax all of a sudden? Because all the money is fleeing Washington. Nobody wants to die here anymore, and they were counting on all that money. They are not learning the cautionary tale of all the people that fled California because of taxes like this. And they're doubling down and tripling down and quadrupling down because they refuse to cut their out-of-control spending, which might have actually fixed a few things if they had done that. So instead, I just want to thank everybody on the left for making the case for voter ID and for investigating fraud. We go to the Warrior Injury Law Studio line, take a call from Stilgar in Bellevue. Stilgar, what's going on, man?
Oh, well, that clip from Gavin Newsom made me wonder exactly how aspirational are these people. It's like, if you got a job interview, you go and you say, yeah, I can't read, but on the plus side, I'm kind of stupid, so please hire me.
Yeah, it's like, it reminds me of that scene with the Will Smith movie, The Pursuit of Happiness, when he comes in for the interview, he doesn't have a shirt. And I go, what would you say if a guy walked into my office and wanted a job and didn't have a shirt? Well, he must have had a really nice pair of pants, right? I mean, this is a guy who's looking for a job and says, yeah, I'm not too smart, so elect me president of the United States.
Well, at least Lunch Bucket Joe had the good sense to plagiarize people that look good. So,
Yeah, that's one direction you can go in instead. Stilgar, appreciate the call. Appreciate you being part of the show. You want to be part of the show, you give us a call or a text at 206-421-5757. That's 206-421-5757. Darren says the same thing. He says, why would anybody want to vote for a stupid person? Well, guys, I mean, I hate to say it, but millions of people voted for Kamala Harris, and they all knew she was stupid. Were they actually voting for Kamala Harris, or were they just voting against Donald Trump? This one here from the 206. Bots? Funny. I sent my comments in last night. I am opposed. I gave my address, my phone number, and my email. Anyone call me to confirm? Of course not. Here's one from Jeff. Jeff says maybe they should put in the actual ballot and see how many of them are fraudulent. Yes, I agree. That's exactly what we should be checking out. Yeah, and when you have the governor, Turd Ferguson, claiming that the taxes are only going to be for the wealthy, do you actually believe him? He literally said this in a press conference just the other day.
Yeah, a lot of concern for folks that this is going to trickle down and eventually be an income tax on all of us. You've been kind of careful with some of your language to not say that you want that included in the bill that you would sign, that that's not going to be necessary. Would you be willing to state that you don't want this to trickle down beyond a tax on millionaires?
Sorry, I've been careful about what?
Would you be willing to say on the record that
you said I was careful about something. What am I being careful about?
Because when we asked you before, about this trickling down to lower incomes, and I think your response was to say that for now we're just talking about the millionaires tax. We're not talking about
I've been crystal clear on that for anyone who's been listening. So my position is clear that the millionaires tax should only apply to folks who make that $1 million. I've also said there needs to be essentially an inflation index so that amount goes up every single year. So it doesn't essentially folks don't essentially come up to it eventually. So I've been crystal clear on that, that's what I support, and I would not be signing a tax that tax folks below the $1 million. So I've been very clear about that.
Even in the future?
I've been very clear about that, yes.
Thank you to Carlene Johnson from the Center Square for holding him accountable, but does anybody actually believe that? This is the same guy who said last year, we can't solve anything by taxing our way out of this. And what did he do? Pass the largest tax increase in Washington state history. This is the little game that somebody like Bob Ferguson plays. Watch, you're going to say, he's going to sign this thing and go, I got the changes I wanted, and it's going to help the middle class. I promise it's going to help the middle class because we're going to give all this money to the middle class, and it's going to help the middle class, even though it's not going to help the middle class. And they're going to use it eventually to tax every single one of us, guaranteed. If you guys want to tell me you're real people and you testified for the bill, give us a call or a text, or excuse me, testified against the bill, give us a call or a text at 206-421-5757. That's 206-421-5757. We go to the Warrior Injury Law studio line. Take a call from our frenemy, Bennett the protester. Bennett, what's going on?
The show wearing a hockey jersey. So I know it's not quite the same. I do have a Team USA jersey from the World Transplant Olympics, but also, and I know it's not hockey, but the only reason I got on to the curling team for the Transplant Olympics was that I actually made shirts for the curling team that had like a curling broom and the stone on it that said "OK Broomer," and somehow they got mixed up and thought that I was joining the team and supplying these shirts for the. So the only medal I got from the last Winter Transplant Olympics was because they made me an honorary member because I supplied the OK Broomer shirts, and then we got a bronze.
Clever. So, I like that. Very good. What's on your mind today, man?
Okay, so you're talking about like the question of fraud with the pro and con registration. So I actually downloaded the data too. This is really easy. All you have to do is go to the page that you've been sending people to, where they're asking people to register pro and con. Instead, you just click the green button underneath that says I want to download the data myself, and then you can. It actually gives you the form where you can download it in an Excel spreadsheet. But so I'm crunching that too. I'm looking to see what they're talking about. I do want to ask this question, though. They do polls on what people think of the millionaire's tax. And so far, it's like 2/3 of Washingtonians in favor. So if you have
No. The poll you are talking about was a push poll. We tore it apart several weeks ago and how it was paid for by the very people that support it, and it was designed to show the support for it. In fact, they said that all these Republicans supported it and then put a picture in the Seattle Times of a few Republicans who literally oppose the bill and have statements out there opposing the bill. The polls you are specifically citing, the ones that say 2/3 approve of it, no, they don't. They're bunk. We debunk them.
Okay, but if you want to do a better poll, then the way to be to contact a representative subset of the population and poll them. And the politicians know that. And so if there's registration data like 10-1 against, if they know that deviates significantly from what the general population thinks, aren't they just going to ignore it because they care about what the whole
here's the thing, Bennett. Let me ask you a question. I'm asking you a real question here. If the Democrats want something and the majority of Washingtonians are against it anyway, do you think that's going to change their minds? Because it hasn't so far.
I mean, if it's about election chances, they do care about. They may weigh that against other things. They'll just say like, "Well, we have to do other things that are more popular."
They know. Here's a perfect example to show how I'm right on this. They know that parental rights poll very, very highly among Democrats and Republicans. That's why they're not taking it up, because they don't want to go on record about it. Otherwise, they would take it up and they would vote on it and they would say, "No, I'm not in favor of this. Now send it to the masses." The reason they're not taking it up at all is because they don't want to be on record about that. And also with regards to boys and girls sports, over 80%, according to every single poll of Americans, show they're opposed to this. And that's another one that the Democrats are on the wrong side of. And they're not taking that one up either. Why don't just they vote on it and then say, okay, it didn't do well here in the House, because they don't want to be on record in opposition to something that so many people are in favor of.
Okay, but we're getting sidetracked there. I'm just saying there's no reason for them to pay attention to the results of the registration data, because they'll just say, okay, even if you say only 60,000 of them are real, they just say, okay, Brian Haywood and Ari Hoffman told all their listeners to call in and register, and that's not illegal.
By the way, that's what they should be saying. Brett, you're right. That's what they should be saying. They should be saying, Ari Hoffman and Brian Haywood told everybody to call in. Instead, now what they're saying is they're all fraudulent, because no way that many people could be against them. Look, Bennett, we all have our biases, right? And sometimes when our biases aren't confirmed by actual facts, some people just keep doubling down, tripling down, quadrupling down, regardless of what side they are on. And it seems like that's exactly what's happening here. If you find anything interesting in those registrations, please DM it to me. I'd love to see it. Appreciate the call. Appreciate you being part of the show. You want to be part of the show, you give us a call or a text at 206-421-5757. That's 206-421-5757. Julie asks over on the text line, Ari, should we call again on the income tax bill, even though we already did in the past, since they're trying to say it's fraudulent, all these phone calls? All right, Julie, let me be very, very crystal clear about this. If you called in last time when it was in the Senate, and you haven't called in yet when it's in the House, even though it's called Senate bill, it passed from the Senate to the House, then you should call in again because you want to register your opposition in the House as well as the Senate. If you already called in the Senate and you already called in the House, do not call again because your point has already been made. I hope that's crystal clear. When we come back, my friends, lots more to discuss. A lot of you want to weigh in on this and prove that you are actual real people and not bots. Plus, a teacher was fired for starting a Turning Point USA club. I'll tell you all about it when we come back. You're listening to the Ari Hoffman Show on Talk Radio 570 KVI. So my daughter wanted to start a Turning Point USA chapter at her school after Charlie Kirk's death. She was very inspired by Erica Kirk's speech. So I was kind of curious what Turning Point was actually teaching in the schools, and I went on their website to look at their curriculum. The oh-so-dangerous things that Turning Point is teaching. The oh-so-dangerous things. Civics, patriotism, it's all stuff like that. Oh, and Israel. Very, very dangerous stuff they're teaching in those Turning Point USA clubs. Very dangerous. Then we have this absolutely insane story that there's a woman in Maryland who said she reported a Turning Point chapter to Child Protective Services. Yeah, she actually showed up to talk about how she did this. Her name is Nancy Krause. She claimed that she reported them for operating at Northern High School and was concerned about the group's activities.
Good evening. I'm going to go off script here and say congratulations, Dr. Newsom. And in the announcement of your position, it was said, we hope you will be more inclusive. I agree. I would like the anti-racism statement returned. In December of 2025, Turning Point USA hosted an event marketed to high school students with food and beverages advertised as an incentive for attendance. While community building opportunities for students are important, this event raises serious concerns related to student safety, parental rights, and governance oversight. Event materials indicated that adults, including parents and legal guardians, were not permitted to attend and that supervision would be provided by unnamed volunteers.
All right, let's stop right there for a second. I haven't seen the flyer for this specific event, but I do know what Turning Point usually does. So, for example, when Charlie Kirk used to come to the University of Washington, you know what they usually say? Tickets are on a first-come, first-served basis with students being prioritized. It's on all of their flyers rather regularly. I would question why specifically in this school district, which is one of the ones that hides things from parents regarding what's going on in the schools, you have a problem with Turning Point USA, but you don't have an issue with what goes on in, the classroom. Continue, please.
Excluding parents and guardians from a student-focused event creates a lack of transparency and undermines established best practices for youth safety. School-affiliated or school-adjacent activities should adhere to clear supervision standards, background check requirements, and defined accountability structures.
Okay, hang on a second here. As somebody who used to volunteer in the public schools in our area, including multiple school districts, I think at one point I was volunteering in 14 public schools in our area, I went through a background check every single time. If they aren't background checking the supervisors that come from any organization, and the clubs from Turning Point USA have to be student run, and the way these clubs actually work is there is always a teacher in the classroom in any public school I've worked in, be it in our area or in New York. I assume it's the same in Maryland. So I think this woman has no idea what she's talking about.
I'm also concerned about a potential conflict of interest involving Board of Education members serving as guest speakers at this event. Board members.
Wait a second. They're talking about civics. Of course they should come in, whether they have the same opinion or a different opinion as Turning Point USA. Now you're worried about them coming in and speaking to the kids? Wait, before you didn't like there were no adults. Now you're mad that members of the Board of Education are coming in and speaking to the kids? Make up your mind, lady.
Are entrusted with fiduciary and ethical responsibilities and participation in events targeting students, particularly when parental access is restricted, warrants careful review to ensure compliance with district policies, ethics guidelines, and public trust obligations. Students are widely recognized as vulnerable population. They are in critical developmental stages and especially susceptible to influence.
So you're going to testify about any of that DEI stuff, or you're just going to let that go?
For this reason, safeguarding measures, parental involvement, and transparency are essential. All Board of Education members in this room are mandated reporters under state law.
Whoa. Mandated reporters means a kid was touched inappropriately, a kid was abused, a kid was hit. You think they need to be reported because, wait, you want to report Turning Point USA, a student club, To CPS? To 911?
As I am. Based on the circumstances surrounding this event, a report was made to Child Protective Services. All of this was provided along with.
Thank you for your comments.
Holy cow! She called CPS on a Turning Point USA chapter. By the way, that's filing a false report, by the way. That's what that is also. You should charge her. Tell me what you think. 206-421-5757. That's 206-421-5757. We go to the Warrior Injury Law Studio line. Take a call from our friend Transit Joe. Transit Joe, what's up, man?
You hear of a joint Senate resolution 8014 demanding that our Congress investigate the Israeli use of force against Isamar.
Oh yeah, we've been talking about this one a lot, Joe. My issue with this one is this is completely Rebecca Saldana trying to get elected by the far left activists in King County. This is the student from University of Washington who went to the West Bank. She went to a city called Jenin, which is a terrorist stronghold, rioted with Hamas against the IDF, was shot in the process. An investigation ruled that, yes, she was shot by accident. Israel apologized, but then again, play stupid games, win stupid prizes. Meanwhile, they did not have in the statement Chaim Katzman, who is a Jew, who is also from the University of Washington, who was killed on a kibbutz on October 7th while shielding the people he was living with his body. Now, the IDF did an investigation into that one, too, and said he was shot by Hamas. So why are they just calling for an investigation into one, not the other?
Yeah, that's something I'm going to bring up tomorrow. I'm asking people to testify because right now the mob is signed up to testify. There's only one con, that's me. We have 13 pro anti-Semitism, people, and one con in me. And I'm like, where's the Jewish Federation? Where's the ADL? Where's Ari Hoffman? Everybody should be tested.
I went and testified on this bill, so I already did that. I'm happy to do it again. The ADL and the Federation on Jewish Lobby Day, the Jewish Federation of Greater Seattle, didn't even mention it. And they were the ones who were there claiming they were there for Jewish causes and didn't even mention it. Joe, appreciate the call. Appreciate you being part of the show. You want to be part of the show, give us a call or a text at 206-421-5757. That's 206-421-5757. When we come back, my friends, a ray of sunshine is fraud actually about to be investigated because of a Republican effort in the Washington State Legislature. Tell you all about it when we come back. You're listening to the Ari Hoffman Show on Talk Radio 570 KVI. Welcome back to the Ari Hoffman Show. Don't forget, there's going to be one more chance for you to win tickets to see Santana and the Doobie Brothers on August 6th at the White River Amphitheater. Keep listening to the Ari Hoffman Show for your chance to hear that key word and to win. Got this text during the break. I just called the legislature again to put in con for the state income tax. The nice lady tried to correct me and said it was the millionaire's tax. I politely said this will be taxes on everyone. I'm so excited for State of the Union tomorrow. I called Daniel's Broilers to see what the dress code is. Sorry, I can't wear my Quality Leering Center fraud shirt. Excellent. Very funny. I'm going to wear it under my Seahawks collared shirt so I can hopefully get a picture with Ari while I'm wearing it. That's from the 12th Man for Life. Yes, I will happily take a picture of you. Remember, everybody, that when you come in tomorrow, I will be on air. So as soon as I am off air, I am more than happy to take all the pictures you want, have all the old fashions, maybe not all the old fashions, but have an old fashioned with everybody, take all the pictures you want. But remember, when you first come into the room, we will be broadcasting. Of course, we will be interacting with the audience and such. But remember, live broadcast happening. Very happy to see everybody. For those of you that didn't get tickets, you can listen to our broadcast from 3 to 6 p.m. right here on Talk Radio 570 KVI. As always, I'll be streaming it on my social media channels, Ari Hoffman Official on Facebook and Instagram, The Hofffather over on Twitter. We'll be on Rumble. We'll be on YouTube. And then after the State of the Union, after the speech is over, I will have an all-star panel. John Carlson's going to be joining us. Brandy Cruz is going to be joining us tomorrow. And we'll be reacting to the speech with our full analysis. And we'll have had a few drinks at that point, so it'll probably be a lot more fun. Now, switching gears over here to something a little bit more sober, is Grey's Anatomy star Eric Dane passed away last week. You may know him as McSteamy. I thought this was kind of sad because I really liked him in The Last Ship. Those of you who haven't heard of The Last Ship, it was on TNT for a while. The plot is fascinating. One Navy ship gets sent to the Arctic to find this primordial ooze kind of stuff to solve this worldwide pandemic business. I actually think it came out before COVID. I have to go back and double check that. But the first 2 seasons of that show, stellar. He was Captain Tom Chandler. I believe he actually left Grey's Anatomy to star in the show as Captain Tom Chandler of the Nathan James. The first 2 seasons of that show, stellar. Fantastic. I love them. Afterwards, kind of lost the plot a little bit. But if you like Talk Radio 570 KVI, if you like the Ari Hoffman Show, if you like America, you should definitely go watch The Last Ship. It's a great, great show, especially, like I said, the first 2 seasons. After that, it's one of those shows also, because it was on TNT, the production value, you go, if they had put a few more bucks into this show, it would have looked even better. Just a few more, a little bit better CGI on the ships and stuff. Would have looked a little bit better. I mean, it could have looked like the Battleship a little bit, you know, where they put all this money into this Hollywood blockbuster that's so bad it's good, but really, really it's bad. It's terrible, but it's kind of good. And sure, let's restart that old Battleship that's been sitting at Pearl Harbor since the 1990s. Yeah, we can get that sucker up and running in an hour, right? No problem. I'm sure all the munitions weren't offloaded years ago. I'm sure just in case of alien attack, they left some munitions behind on that Battleship right there just in case. Yeah, we can get a 60-year-old Battleship going with no problem whatsoever, right? Anyway, still very, very sad news out of Hollywood about Eric Dane. He had ALS, otherwise known as Lou Gehrig's disease. And what was kind of sad was seeing what happened to him when he was this big buff guy who's like fighting people with his bare hands in The Last Ship, and then he's in a wheelchair. Just kind of really sad.
I know him from Euphoria on
I
HBO.
never saw it. I never saw Euphoria. What's it about?
It's very, very hard R. TV.
Oh, is it one of their dirty shows?
Oh yeah.
It's one of their dirty
very,
shows.
Very,
I gotcha.
Very. So it's about teens and their troubles.
Teens and their troubles.
Yeah.
Like American Pie troubles, those kind of troubles? Or
yeah, no, that's funny and fun. This is doom and gloom and
oh, no.
All sorts of stuff. Yeah, I think season 3 is coming out soon. It's been on hiatus for a while.
Because of him?
No, I think he actually filmed the scenes that he's very creepy on the show.
I got you.
Very creepy, yeah. And Zendaya,
Zendaya, whatever.
She's become a pretty big star since.
Mm-hmm.
So the first 2 seasons, then she kind of blew up, and so it was like there's a question mark to whether she'd even come back. And you got your Sydney Sweeney. Is that
Sydney Sweeney.
Yes.
So Sydney Sweeney. Yes, friend of the show.
Sure. She's on the show as well.
Yes.
And again, she's kind of a big star now. So it was like, but third season apparently is done and coming out. I'm not sure I would recommend it.
Yeah.
It's pretty intense.
Pretty intense. You know what I read over the weekend actually was Michael J. Fox's book. He wrote a book called Future Boy. And the only thing it focuses on was him filming Back to the Future at the same time as Family Ties. Now, those of you who are big fans of Back to the Future and Michael J. Fox know that he originally, they wanted to cast him on Back to the Future. He couldn't do it because Family Ties was such a big hit, and the producers wouldn't let him out of the show. They cast Eric Stoltz. The movie wasn't working. They fired Eric Stoltz, and they said to Family Ties people, what can we do to get Michael J. Fox in this movie? We really want him. And they said, as long as he doesn't miss any filming of Family Ties, you can have him. And that's why a lot of scenes in Back to the Future are done at night. Some were filmed on weekends. And dude didn't sleep for like 4 months. He slept in the back of cars going back and forth between Paramount and Universal. It sounded exhausting, but the book is, if you're a big Back to the Future fan and you don't know any of this kind of stuff, fascinating. For somebody like me who knows everything about Back to the Future because I'm a giant dork, it was kind of basic, but he put the book out, and it was really just about that little section of his life. And the reason I bring this up is because you're talking about big stars. He also wanted to honor his commitment to Family Ties, which made him a star. And I'm not sure how many of them they make like that these days. Usually it's just, I'm here, I'm gone. I mean, I'm surprised Steve Carell stuck around on The Office as long as he did.
I also heard a rumor that when he was making Teen Wolf, that's when they were shooting at least part of Back to the Future with Eric Stoltz.
Yes.
Is that true?
That's what was going on.
And he visited the set and was like, man, I wish I was on a movie like this.
Yes. He kind of is like, I got Teen Wolf.
I like Teen Wolf, man.
I love the Teen Wolf movie. I love like the second one. Terrible.
Oh,
it's
awful,
unwatchable.
awful.
Garbage.
Yeah.
I like the first one. You know the two top grossing movies of 1985? Back to the Future and Teen Wolf?
Wow.
Yeah.
Wow. Yeah, I have fun. I'd recorded Teen Wolf off of NBC when it was the nightly movie, and me and my brother would watch it all the time.
Yes. Oh, I love that Teen Wolf movie. Stupid, but I love that stupid movie. I'm surprised you don't like the second one. It's all about boxing. Don't you like the boxing? The Teen Wolf doesn't play basketball anymore. He boxes.
Well, it's Bateman in that
one.
Yeah. Even as a kid, I think I was pretty old at that point, but still, I thought, they're just doing the same movie, but with boxing, like the same scenes.
Even with his same friends and new actors playing one or two of them. Very dumb. Lots more to discuss as the show continues, my friends. When we come back, there's a more dangerous bill in the legislature than even the income tax. We'll tell you what it is when we come back. You're listening to the Ari Hoffman Show on Talk Radio 570 KVI. Welcome to the Ari Hoffman Show on Talk Radio 570 KVI, your home for the politically homeless, streaming live at KVI.com and the KVI app. If you want to be part of the most dangerous show on the airwaves, call or text the Warrior Injury Law Studio line at 206-421-5757. That's 206-421-5757. Coming up this hour, another chance to win two tickets to see Santana and the Doobie Brothers August 6th at the White River Amphitheater. Keep listening for the keyword for your chance to win. An update to an earlier story we did about the left claiming that everybody who's signing up to oppose the income tax, it's all fraud. It's fraudulent. What happens? Over 110,000 people sign up against this thing in the House after over 60,000 signed up against it in the Senate for a grand total of 170,000 signups. Well, you've got these people on the left claiming it's fraudulent. Why are all these names on here? I'm convinced more than ever that this was a setup by the left. What happens? We noticed this when the signups were coming in. You can see it very openly on their pages. These people were signing up from SEIU. SEIU is a far left organization. So what happens? SEIU is actually telling people to sign in support of the tax. So why would they be signing in against it? Other union members were also signing in against this thing. In fact, some people very well known on the left were signing in, but also some names that were not public from the union rolls were signing in. And I am convinced more than ever that these were plants. What happened was somebody, because these things were put in the middle of the night, decided, hey, let's put these names in here so we can claim all the names are fraudulent. So we can claim there's no way they have this much support against our income tax. Well, our friends over at Let's Go Washington actually just did a deep dive into the accuracy of these numbers. You ready for this? Here we go. So out of the 110 plus thousand that they came in, they have verified 101,062 names out of the 115,028 names. So that's the majority, overwhelming majority. On the Senate bill, they have verified out of the 60,000, 53,430. So for the Democrats to claim it's all fraud, it's all fraud, it's all fraud, yeah, you're going to have a hard time doing that. Me, Let's Go Washington, Brandy Cruz, the Washington Policy Center. Anybody who listens to the show, anybody who listens to Brandy, anybody who follows the Washington Policy Center, anybody who follows Let's Go Washington, we've been encouraging people to sign up and oppose the income tax. This is a desperate play by the left. They were hoping this basement blogger, who probably, for all we know, was the one who was entering these fraudulent names, was hoping that the story would get picked up by the Seattle Times, which it did, and then they could claim, there's fraud. There's fraud. Yeah, no, there's not. Washingtonians are opposed to this, and the Democrats do not like dissent. So they don't like that people are opposing their income tax. Now, here's what I want you to do, my friends. If you've already registered against the income tax in the House, which is where it's at right now, don't call in again. If you only did it in the Senate, which was last week or the week before, I want you to call 1-800-562-6000. That's 1-800-562-6000 and say no to the income tax. If they say, do you mean the millionaire tax? You say very politely, like our friend, 12th Man for Life, well, the Democrats are calling it a millionaire tax, but we all know it's an income tax. Or you say, isn't a millionaire tax an income tax? Either way you say that, you say no to that. If you'd rather do it online, go to leg, as in that thing attached to your body, .wa.gov and say no to this tax. Say absolutely no to this Senate bill, which is, where is it here? I just lost the number. I'll pull up the number in a second, but say no to the Senate bill because this is crazy. Oh, here it is. Senate Bill 6346. Say no to Senate Bill 6346, a.k.a. the millionaire's tax, a.k.a. the income tax. Say no. Now, there is some good news out of the legislature. The Washington House Republicans have a list of bad bills that are dead, and more of them are dead that we were worried about. So, for example, this one here for government-run grocery stores, because that worked out so well in New York, right? Worked out really, really well. This one, reducing accountability for sex offenders who fail to register, that's dead. Shorter sentences for serious crimes, that's dead. Keeping tents on sidewalks and not being able to sweep homeless encampments, those are dead too. And now I'm hearing, and I think I just confirmed it, the Senate bill, which I was down in Olympia talking to them about, which was going to have you arrested or have your car towed for not paying your car tabs, that one's dead too. That's what I'm hearing right now. I'm going to do a double check on that, but I hear that one's done and gone. So that's good. Other bad bills that are still out there, by the way, the income tax, of course, that one's still out there. The takeover of local sheriffs, where the Democrats can decide they don't like Keith Swank and fire him. Yeah, these are all still at play, but there's something else that's worse than any of these. This one here from the center square, lawmakers and stakeholders continue to raise concerns over a bill that would grant the Attorney General's office broader authority to issue civil investigative demands. A move some critics argue would permit the Attorney General to potentially go after political rivals. Passed by the state Senate last week, Senate Bill 5925 would give the Attorney General the authority to demand documents and records and or compel testimony of a person or entity in pursuit of a civil investigation into potential violations of a variety of state laws, as well as the state and U.S. Constitution. So let's play this little game out for a second here. Let's say I get a story, and let's say the story has a whistleblower. And let's say the whistleblower may have been involved in some stuff, but now wants to come clean. Or let's say they weren't even involved in some stuff. Let's say they just want to expose it, but the Attorney General decides what they did was against the law. Hey, Ari Hoffman, give us your documents or else. Give us your documents. Do you see how dangerous this can be? Do you know how much confidential information we keep here? I'll tell you a little something about the Ari Hoffman Show. People contact me with stories all the time. I'd say I run about a quarter of them. And there's a combination of factors why. First of all, it's just me, right? I'm the one who's got to do all the research. I'm the one who's got to do everything checking into it. That's number one. But number two, sometimes I say to a person, if I publish this, will this make your life better or worse? And when they start getting a little squiggly, I say, I don't want to make your life worse. This is a bombshell story, but I don't want things to be bad for you. Now, if you want to sign up for that and all the media attention that may come with it, I'm more than happy to write the story. But I don't want to do it if it's going to make things worse for you. And there are tons of stories I have dropped because of that. Call it my journalistic ethics, but I say, no, I'm not running those. So now, if the Attorney General even thinks somebody contacted me with something like that, they can now compel me or try to compel me to give over my records. It's not going to happen. It's never going to happen, no matter how many threats they throw at me. I will take this to the Supreme Court if I have to. Because it is a civil matter, the Attorney General does not require a judicial warrant in order to issue one of these things, these requests. Though it can request a judge issue a gag order on the individual subject. So imagine that. Imagine this, Kevin. If they don't like a story and they start issuing gag orders on KVI, you think they can't try to do this? Of course they will. What if they try to issue gag orders on any of the people who want to call us? Do you realize this? They're trying to stop the flow of information. I mean, look, Kevin, you've been doing this a lot longer than I have. How many times have they tried to take down talk radio in the time you've been here?
Oh, man. Well, at least once. Actually, I think it was a little bit before my time. So right before I started.
There was also that time where Kirby and John both got sued.
Oh, that deal.
You remember that fun too? Yeah.
So twice.
Twice in the time you've been here. And then there's the whole, we want to get rid of AM radio in the new cars. There's that too. We'd run commercials for that, right? And that's even before I showed up and all the problems I brought with me because I'm a troublemaker. But yeah, this is just another attempt to try and stop this. The Attorney General can also request a court impose sanctions if a person does not comply. And then a person will have to go to a judge. I'm sure the judges in Washington will love me. I'm sure they'll love, I'll even put on a suit. I don't think I've worn a tie since COVID, except for weddings. I'll even put on a tie. I will go down there and they're going to take one look at Ari Hoffman and go, nope, Absolutely not. You know what else they'll do? They used to do this to Dory all the time. Somebody told me the story. I have not verified this. Somebody told me this, that they kept Dory in jury duty so he wouldn't be on air. That tracks. That makes sense. I'm thinking to myself, if I get called for jury duty, no way they're going to keep me around. I'm pretty biased. Nope. They'll keep you there just to keep you off air. Odds are they'll try and make these things for a time where I'm on air. That's what they'll do. Just watch. So the Assistant Attorney General sought to downplay the bill's scope at a public hearing, arguing it would not grant new authority or power, and individuals could turn to the Washington State Bar Association if they believe this was being abused. Oh, the Washington State Bar Association. How wonderful and tolerant they've been. You mean the ones who are funding help for illegal aliens? You mean the ones who are funding legal help for the fraudsters, the fraudsters who are the squatters on people's property? Oh, you mean the Washington State Bar Association, where a woman took me to court to target me because she didn't like a story I did about her. And the Washington State Bar Association didn't claim that was a violation of anything? Uh-huh. Quote, we take our responsibilities of professional conduct very seriously. Really? That's why you said all of us who were investigating fraud were serial harassers, right? That's why you did? Uh-huh. Quote, the Bar Association does not oversee the individual actions of a law enforcement agency or any investigative agency to a level it's necessary for public scrutiny or this type of power. They said there's zero restriction here. So these guys could literally start doing whatever they wanted. This is one of the broadest government overreaches ever. Representative Jim Walsh told the Center Square, who watches The Watchmen, what is your process for checking the administration and the execution of civil investigative demands? The answer is you watch yourself. Exactly. This thing is scary. Truly, truly scary of what they could do with unchecked power where they don't need warrants. Whoa. Wait a second. Aren't they the ones who are mad at ICE for not getting warrants? But they want to do this. Wait, wasn't it the Attorney General's office who also want to hide the identities of their agents, but doesn't want ICE to hide their identities? This sounds like a lot of the fraud claims, these false fraud claims that they're making about everybody who testified against the income tax. Well, you're claiming that all these people aren't real people, so what you're saying is you want identification to know who these people are. All of a sudden, just like that, the Democrats are in favor of identification for things involving voting. Isn't that fantastic? Wow. Thank you to the Northwest Progressive Institute and all the Democrats for finally coming out in favor of voter identification. Meanwhile, we do have some good news. So you remember Senate Bill 5599, the state-sanctioned kidnapping bill that went into law, 2-3 cycles ago? Which is the one where your kid, if they feel they identify a certain way or want to have an abortion, can run away from home and will be hidden by Washington State. Well, apparently, a bunch of states said, you guys are trying to lure our kids away, and now they are suing Washington State. A coalition of 16 states has petitioned the U.S. Supreme Court to take up a legal challenge to Washington State Senate Bill 5599, which critics have called the state-sanctioned kidnapping law that allows minors to run away from home and be hidden by the evergreen state. Once there, they are able to access sex changes and abortions without parental consent. The states, led by Florida and Idaho, filed an amicus brief urging the nation's highest court to intervene in the International Partners for Ethical Care, Inc. versus Ferguson. They argue the law undermines long-standing parental rights protections and could encourage minors to leave home to seek sex changes or abortions without their parents' knowledge or consent. Signed by then-Governor Jay Inslee in May of 2023, Senate Bill 5599 amended Washington state laws regarding runaway and homeless youth shelters. Under prior law, licensed shelters were generally required to notify parents within 24 to 72 hours after admitting a minor who was away from home without permission. Senate Bill 5599 creates an exception when a minor is seeking or receiving what state law defines as protected health services, a category that includes abortions and sex changes. Shelters may contact the state's Department of Children, Youth, and Families instead of notifying parents. Yeah, because DCYF has done such a bang-up job so far, haven't they? The multi-state brief argues that Senate Bill 5599 infringes on the constitutional rights of parents to direct the upbringing, care, and medical decisions of their children. The states contend that by allowing a shelter to withhold notification, based on a child's claimed need for reproductive or gender-related care, Washington effectively sidelines parental authority, even in the absence of any finding of abuse or neglect. The brief also warns that the law could incentivize minors who disagree with their parents on these issues to flee to Washington, where shelters could house them and involve the state rather than their families. The original lawsuit was filed by parents and advocacy organizations challenging the law's constitutionality. The plaintiffs argue the statute permits the state to conceal a child's location and facilitate access to certain medical services without parental involvement. The U.S. Court of Appeals for the Ninth Circuit dismissed the parents' challenge on standing grounds, ruling that the plaintiffs had not yet shown they or their children had suffered any concrete injury. The appeals court concluded that the alleged harm was too speculative because it depended on whether a child might run away and seek shelter in the future. So the problem here is that the original appeals court said, well, it hasn't happened to you yet, so wait until it actually happens, then call us back. The state's brief disputes that conclusion, arguing that parents should not have to wait until a runaway incident occurs before seeking a judicial review. They maintain that the law itself alters the parent-child dynamic and creates an ongoing risk of harm. The coalition argues that the case has national implications, particularly if other states adopt similar laws, because now your kid can just hop on a train, hop on a bus, and end up in Washington state and be protected by Washington state. So Washington has now made this decision for the rest of the country because somebody coming here from Idaho can just say, yeah, we're going to go with that. We're just gonna let the kid go. Washington State's gonna say, who cares that the kid's from Idaho? We're gonna take him in because we feel that we are saving this child's lives. Yeah, now is interesting too. Imagine this for a second. Imagine if we actually get this case. Child runs away from home, undergoes a sex-altering surgery here, and then has second thoughts about it. Now could sue the entire Washington State legislature because we have legal precedent for all this. See, this is great. This is great, by the way, that this case hopefully will be heard by the Supreme Court. Now, the Supreme Court has not said whether or not they're going to take this up, but this is something they should definitely take up because it's bypassing parental rights. Washington does not get to decide parental rights for the rest of the country. It doesn't get to decide parental rights here in Washington. One of the reasons they are so afraid of the initiative that you all did through Let's Go Washington to guarantee parental rights is it's a threat to their radical ideology where kids can run away from home and become wards of the Democrats. This one here from Rob in Lakewood. ID, did you cover Kami Mamdani requiring multiple forms of ID and Social Security card to shovel snow? Yeah, so some friends of mine sent me some video today that was interesting. 2 feet of snow in New York. 2 feet of snow. Now, Mamdani is bogged down, not in the snow, but because he botched the response to the last snowstorm. So what's he doing? He's saying, oh, we're going to hire people to shovel the snow, but you need a couple forms of ID. So let me make sure I got this right. You need a couple forms of ID to shovel snow in New York, but they don't want it for you to vote. Do I have that right? Am I following all that correctly? Because that's exactly what it sounds like. Yes, exactly right. This one here from Robin Lakewood. Ari, thanks for supporting the right-minded Washingtonians. Yes, exactly right. That's what we're doing around here. Remember, call the Washington State Legislature. Say no to the income tax. 1-800-562-6000. That's 1-800-562-6000. When we come back, my friends, lots more to discuss. Tucker Carlson busted lying again. And now he's heading to meet with Donald Trump in the White House. Was he being called into the principal's office? We'll tell you what's going on when we come back. You're listening to The Ari Hoffman Show on Talk Radio 570 KBI. Welcome back to the Ari Hoffman Show, and now is your chance to win fantabulous prizes, my friends. That's right. We are giving away two tickets to see Santana and the Doobie Brothers, August 6th at the White River Amphitheater. Now, all you have to do is enter the keyword I give you, text it over to the number I give you for your chance to win. Do not give us your phone number. Do not give us your email address. Do not give us your name, because then you won't win. And make sure you spell it right. Okay, guys? I saw some weird spellings of this word last time. So today's word is Grove, as in China Grove, by the Doobie Brothers. Okay? The word is Grove, Grove. Text the word Grove to 206-421-5757. That's 206-421-5757 for your chance to win. Also, I got this text from Steve, who sent me a picture of the last time we did State of the Union. It's great. You see the Daniels Broiler Ballroom. You see the 570 KVI up on the wall. You see our old boss actually in the background. I wasn't even working for KVI. It was the year before I started working for KVI. It's right there in the background. 2020, something like that. Whatever.
Sure.
Right before COVID.
Right.
Sure, something like that.
Yeah.
Well, anyway, they're really excited to see us. Steve and Sue sent that picture over tomorrow. Yeah, I'm excited. I'm excited. I got kosher steak coming my way. That's right. Somebody's bringing in kosher steak for me, so I'm very excited. But for those of you that didn't get tickets to State of the Union, we will be broadcasting from the event from 3 to 6 p.m. right here on Talk Radio 570 KVI. Also, after the show is over, after the State of the Union is over, after the State of the Union speech is over, me, Brandy Cruz, John Carlson, will be having our reaction to the speech, which you can find on my social media channels, Ari Hoffman Official on Facebook and Instagram, The Hoffather over on Twitter. So make sure you subscribe to all those so you can check it out. Fantastical. Oh, you look like you had something to say in there. You looked all like ready to go.
Well, John's going to be there at some point.
John's going to be there at some point. John Carlson is an elusive figure.
Yes.
We're not sure when John will be there exactly. John may be there while I'm doing the show. John may be there afterwards. Who knows? John just spontaneously appears, and then he disappears.
Yeah.
Yes. Okay. Anyway, we go to the Warrior Injury Law Studio line. Take a call from Scott in Issaquah. Scott, what's going on?
Hey, Ari. Oh, I'm sitting here working on model trains and listening to your show and getting ticked off.
well, I hope you're not ticked off at me. You mean ticked off at the Democrats, right?
No, I can't even get mad anymore. I've been hearing it for 40 years. But no, I just wanted to make a point. So if a kid decides to run away from home, from another state or whatever, and maybe it's already happened, the parents report him missing. Law enforcement's looking for him. They're considered a missing person. And the state doesn't have to inform law enforcement that they have them, and they just abduct that child. That child's been abducted, and
that's why we call it
state
state-sanctioned kidnapping. Yes, that's exactly how it works.
That's wild. I mean, I knew it was like that. I just wanted to make that point clear to these Democrats. When I was a kid, my grandpa said that Jay Inslee would never be governor. He said he was mentally ill, belongs in a mental health clinic. And I mean, it's. I don't know. I guess Olympia counts as a mental health clinic. I don't really know, but anyways.
Yeah, you're not wrong. I mean, sometimes I look at these people and I go, how can they still be in office? How can somebody vote for this? How can somebody vote for AOC? Dumb as a rock, that one. And yet she keeps getting elected and keeps getting elected and keeps getting elected. How does she have 13 million Twitter followers? Who wants to hear what AOC, who wants to hear her thoughts on life? Unbelievable. Really,
I don't know.
Really is.
Free money. They want free money. They like all the free stuff.
There you go. That's what it is. Scott, appreciate the call. Appreciate you being part of the show. Good luck with those model trains. I had a relative who used to work on those. He had a most elaborate diorama set up in his garage with all the tunnels and everything. It was really, truly magnificent. Switching gears, has anybody noticed that Fox 13 around here has gotten pretty, shall we just say they're trying to out-woke King 5? Have you noticed that? I don't even check Fox 13 for news anymore because they seem to have, it's like they're trying to be King 5. King 5 has gotten slightly better, and Fox 13 seems to have gotten a lot worse.
Well, I haven't noticed because I don't watch.
Okay, I don't watch either. I check their website for stories. And when I look, so every day, here's my routine. Kevin knows this, my routine. I go to, what do I do? First, I look up all the stuff that's happening locally. So I go to Como and I go to all these other local websites. I check every single local outlet. That's what I do. Do I find anything good there? Maybe. Yes, no. I check my press releases. What do I get locally? Then it's, let's do the national stuff, all right? Let's get into it. Let's go to everybody. And I check CNN. Now, Kevin here sends me stuff he finds over on Drudge. I don't check Drudge, but Kevin checks Drudge.
Sure.
He sends that stuff on over when he finds something interesting, sends it on over to me. But I kind of stopped checking King 5, and I kind of stopped checking Fox 13 because there's never anything there for me. You know what I get out of King 5? Good news. King 5, best good news in town because it's all fluff. I get no actual news from King 5. Fox 13, haven't seen anything there good in a while. In fact, that's how I missed this story. Honest Reporting, which is a media watchdog group, they found this. Fox 13, the Fox affiliate in Seattle, is facing criticism from a media watchdog group after a broadcast segment described the Palestinian death toll in Israel and the Hamas war as hundreds of thousands. Okay, nobody says that's the number, even Hamas. The Committee for Accuracy in Middle East Reporting and Analysis said the statement aired during Fox 13's February 13th Washington News Wrap segment. In the broadcast, reporter Matthew Smith discussed a former Amazon employee who criticized the company's involvement in Project Nimbus, a reported cloud computing contract between Amazon and the Israeli government. Smith said the employee spoke out about Amazon impacting the violence in Gaza, adding that the conflict has led to hundreds of thousands of deaths. Did anybody fact check this guy? Well, actually, you know who did? Fox News, Fox 13's parent company, reported just a couple weeks before that the Hamas-run Gaza Health Ministry currently reports 71,667 deaths, while noting that those numbers are in dispute because they come from Hamas. During the same Fox 13 segment, they interviewed another Amazon former employee who said he was fired after speaking out against the company. And then said that Project Nimbus was used to commit a genocide that wiped out nearly half the population of Gaza. Okay, the population of Gaza is 2.1 million. So you're claiming that 1 million people were killed during this. Camera, the Committee for Accuracy in Middle East Reporting, said the broadcast neither challenged nor contextualized the claim. The group argued that the statements overstated the death toll and amplified disputed allegations without clarification. The segment aired while anti-Israel activists and pundits continue to falsely claim there is an ongoing genocide in Gaza. Fox News itself reported on February 14th that military experts and researchers rejected the genocide allegation and cited commentary from Danny Orbach, a military historian at the Hebrew University of Jerusalem, who said the claim is not supported under the legal definition of genocide. But in addition to that, if you actually do the math on any of this, including using Hamas's numbers, it's nowhere near that. Hamas has a long record of manipulating casualty data. They recently admitted their numbers were bunk and admitted how many of them were terrorists, not civilians. In addition to that, data from the Palestine Central Bureau of Statistics show that Gaza records, on average, about 6,000 natural deaths, 800 infant deaths annually. So those are factored in. You're also factoring in Hamas's own violence, including executions of alleged collaborators and looters, clashes around aid convoys, friendly fire, and misfired rockets that fall inside of Gaza, which is 10 to 20% of the 10,000 plus rockets they launched since October 7th. According to the IDF, approximately 25,000 Hamas terrorists have been killed since the war began, including those who were killed in the October 7th massacre, and several thousand since. So when you come down to it, the civilian to combat ratio is 1.45 to 1, which is the lowest in modern warfare, including the wars of Iraq and Afghanistan. And yet they keep claiming this and no pushback whatsoever from Fox 13. I think I'm just kind of done with Fox 13. I don't remember the last time they had a story I was interested in anyway. When we come back, my friends, showing the problems with the media, we still don't have our press passes back. But now, one journalist is going to join us to tell us how the media should be punished, not us, but how the media should be punished for going after our Second Amendment rights. Tell you all about it when we come back. You're listening to the Ari Hoffman Show on Talk Radio 570 KVI. As the fight heats up over who's a real journalist, who's not, I saw a fascinating op-ed in AMOLand Shooting Sports News. Quote, no tears for struggling legacy media which abandoned the Second Amendment. Joining us now, the man in charge of gunmag.com, the one and only Dave Workman. Thank you so much for being with us today.
Well, it's very kind of you to invite me to chat about this. It's a fascinating subject, isn't it?
Well, it really is, given the fact that the Second Amendment protects the First Amendment, and they seem not to know that. And what's the first thing you see in all these coups? I'm surprised the cartel hasn't seized the means of publication down in Mexico yet, or any of the TV stations or any of the radio stations, because as soon as you have that, you control the media, right?
Well, yeah, and unfortunately, on this side of the border, we've got a legacy media, if that's what you call it. I call it the establishment media, but same thing. You've got an organized media here that uses the First Amendment to beat up on the Second Amendment, and they're not too keen on some of the other amendments either, depending upon which way your politics goes. But frankly, the thing that attracted me to do this op-ed was the problem that you and Brandy Cruz and Jonathan Cho have experienced down at Olympia. And then, you're not getting your press passes down there. And then the Seattle Times turns around and goes down and testifies in favor of a piece of legislation asking for taxpayer support of the media, which is supposed to be the watchdog on government. And it just, I sat there for about 30 seconds. I scratched my head and I said, Dave, you got to write about this. And so I did.
Yeah, and it's a great article. It's an absolutely great article. What I find crazy about this is it's not even the fight about who's a journalist, who's not a journalist. Instead, they're saying, well, these people advocate for something. So we're being honest about our bias. And they're not, because they are literally down there in Olympia begging for the Democrats to put a tax on big tech to bail out their failing news outlets, right?
Well, yeah, that's certainly what it appears to be. And appearances sometimes are deceiving, but not this time. And, if you look at the Seattle Times and, of course, what used to be the Seattle Post-Intelligencer, my argument, mainly in this op-ed, was that the newspapers, like Seattle Times, the big dailies, they're all suffering. And I think one of the big reasons they're doing that is because they've turned their back editorially on maybe 35 to 40% of their potential reader audience by, A, taking consistent positions against the Second Amendment, and B, a lot of them don't even have outdoor sections anymore, which used to be a big staple in the sports sections of a daily newspaper. And as I noted in the article, the Washington Post just reportedly closed out its entire sports section.
Yeah, and then they wonder why all of us are so excited about a hockey game, right? Because I thought people didn't care about this at all. Meanwhile, everybody would have bought the newspaper if that was on the front cover of it after yesterday. We're talking with Dave Workman from thegunmag.com. You should check out all of his stuff. Now, Dave, look at the Washington State Legislature, looking what's happening around here. They had a whole bunch of anti-gun legislation earlier this session. Any of this moving forward? Any good news for any of us?
Well, a couple of things have died. One of them is the mandatory safe storage, which that's always bothered me a little bit because back in 2008, when the Supreme Court handed down the ruling in the Washington, D.C. case regarding people who couldn't have handguns, the Supreme Court ruling said specifically you can't tell people that they have to lock up their firearms because that makes those guns inaccessible for home protection. And for some reason, all the lawmakers out there who want to ignore that, they've come up with this legislation or proposals in the years hence. It's like 15 years ago. They want you to again, lock up all your guns. Well, what's that going to prove? The bad guys aren't going to obey that. The bad guys don't obey background check laws because they don't go to Joe's gun shop to buy their guns. They don't obey waiting periods because they steal guns. Nobody that I can think of in his right mind is going to suggest that bad guys are going to obey a gun lock law. So I think that one went away, and good for it. But there are a couple other laws still awaiting action down there. And if you pay attention to the Washington legislative group on Facebook, they give constant updates on which bills are moving and which bills have stalled. And that to me is a great resource.
Yeah, absolutely it is. That's why we have our friends on from there all the time. So just before we let you go, how do you see this media fight shaking out? You've been in the business a lot longer than I have. It seems to me like the media is dying a slow death. They're begging for the legislature to bail them out. It seems like they don't understand the things people actually want to read. Otherwise, they wouldn't need to take government money like we don't, you don't. So how do you see this thing shaking out?
Well, frankly, having been in the business for about 56 years now, I'm an old guy. I think some of the people in the media are committing suicide, really, because they don't understand what their readers want. As I mentioned earlier, they've really turned their backs on the firearms community. They're always saying how terrible and bad and dangerous guns are, and we need more gun control. And when they lose readers, they lose the ability to charge for advertising. Advertising, it's going other places. It's going to even social media. You see it on the internet all the time. I get ads all the time on my computer when I should be reading those ads in the newspaper. It's kind of a death spiral. A shrinking readership means lower ad revenue, and for some reason, the people who are supposed to design business models for newspapers, which really ought to be thriving today, they don't seem to get that. And, it's really sad.
Yeah, it really is. But at the same time, I'm not mourning their death spiral because they did this to themselves by attacking people like me and being gatekeepers over who gets to be journalists and who doesn't. And in doing so, they alienated their audiences because their audiences went to find people who gave them the real news as opposed to the spin for whatever party in power that these outlets were representing. Dave Workman from thegunmag.com. Thank you so much for joining us today. Really do appreciate it.
You bet.
Always a pleasure. We got a whole lot more to discuss as the show continues. You're listening to The Ari Hoffman Show on Talk Radio 570 KVI. Only good news to wrap up another amazing episode of the Ari Hoffman Show right here on Talk Radio 570 KVI. And I still can't get over the USA hockey team win at the Olympics. In fact, here's a little clip of Team USA celebrating afterwards to courtesy of the red, white, and blue. There's a lot of these videos, and I could spend an entire show playing all these videos. It was just a lot of fun, and it really wrapped you up in the fun. Now, Team USA landed back in Miami several hours ago, and I guess they're getting their suits ready to head on over to State of the Union. Now, for me, I am so excited about State of the Union tomorrow night. When I first got to KVI, we're still in the deep, deep heart of COVID. And when that was happening, they would tell me, Kevin and Mike would tell me all these stories about the events we used to do. And I remember as soon as they said Stake of the Union, I said, I have found the right place to work. They have an event here called Stake of the Union. This is one I've been pushing for. This is one I've been really, really excited about. And it's happening tomorrow night. In fact, this is kind of funny. So my wife is out in Israel visiting my sons. She's on a trip where a bunch of influencers and volunteers, they're doing all these things around Israel. And she was supposed to be coming back tomorrow night. And she said, can you pick me up at the airport? And I said, oh, sweetie, I got Stake of the Union. I don't think I could pick you up at the airport. I got the Stake of the Union event. Well, God was on my side and dropped a massive snowstorm on New York, which messed up all the flights. Now she's not going to be back till Wednesday. Wait, no, that's not right. Now my wife's going to be delayed a day. I shouldn't say that. Anyway, hopefully she'll be back safe and sound. But yes, this massive snowstorm taking out the East Coast. Now her flights are all messed up. Hopefully she'll be back in time. But the Stake of the Union, it's going to be awesome. First of all, I've seen the drink menu. I'm very excited about the drink menu. The names they came up with are amazing, with one little contribution by yours truly. That's slightly offensive, but it's going to be fun. So we've got fun drink names for drinks you're going to love. New York Steaks, it's going to be great. We're going to have a great time. John Carlson's going to be popping in before the speech. Brandy Cruz is going to be popping in after the speech. It's going to be a lot of fun. Plus, there may be some other VIPs floating around. You will find out. Now, for those of you that cannot make it to Stake of the Union, remember, the show will be on air from 3 to 6 p.m. as it always is. It'll also be on all the video channels it always is. Then after the State of the Union address, I will be streaming to my social media channels, Ari Hoffman Official on Facebook and Instagram, The Hofffather over on Twitter. So that way you can watch the panel afterwards with me and Brandy and whatever other VIPs come by.
And we'll be broadcasting the panel as well.
We're broadcasting the panel.
Sure.
Didn't even know we were broadcasting the panel.
Come on.
So even better, we're going to be broadcasting the panel. So if you don't have social media, you can listen to it right here on Talk Radio.
Have a screen anywhere if you're
KVI.
Still in your car or whatever. Tune in and we'll
Didn't even know. See, learn something new every day. Didn't even know we'd be doing that. So make sure you download the KVI app, subscribe to our podcast, of course, and listen at kvi.com. Will be lots of fun. I am very, very excited. In fact, one listener sent us over a picture of the previous one, which I'm just really, really excited for all this. Okay, good news. Here we go. This is from Fox News. A dog that was left tied to a baggage sizer at a JetBlue counter outside Las Vegas Harry Reid International Airport earlier this month has been adopted by the same police officer who helped rescue him. In a social media post, the Las Vegas Metropolitan Police Department said the Golden Doodle, affectionately nicknamed JetBlue, has officially landed in his new loving home. The dog was obviously named after the terminal, but it was permanently placed by Retriever Rescue of Las Vegas with the family of one of the officers who helped rescue the approximately 2-year-old Golden Doodle mini poodle during the original incident. It looks like a Muppet. It just looks, it's one of those dogs that looks like a Muppet. My brother-in-law and sister-in-law have giant poodles. Those are some dumb-looking dogs, but they're adorable. They're quite cute. Yeah.
Yeah, what are those called? Are they like poodle doors or
they got some goofy name, but they look like the bigger version of this sucker.
And they are weird looking.
They're very odd looking, and they both look exactly alike. I don't know which one's which. I know one died and one was replaced, and I cannot tell you the difference. I really can't. They said the officer Skeeter Black, best name ever, and his family had been working to adopt a Golden Doodle through Retriever Rescue of Las Vegas in September of 2025. I like that this dog, in one picture, looks like he's frowning, and one picture looks like he's smiling. I don't think dogs really do that, but it's quite adorable. And it had already been approved months before selecting JetBlue as their owners. The outpouring of support from our community throughout this situation has been overwhelming, and we are incredibly grateful to everyone who helped ensure this pup received the care and compassion he deserved. Bon voyage, JetBlue, and welcome to a new life where you'll be loved beyond words by Officer Black and his family. The pooch first made headlines on February 2nd after officers responded to reports that a dog had been tied to a metal carry-on baggage sizer at the airport's JetBlue counter and left behind. Police said a woman was arrested on charges of animal abandonment and resisting arrest. Footage released by the police department showed the woman, whose face was blurred, approach the ticket counter with the dog before walking away and leaving the leash tied to a metal fixture. Guys, if you want to give up the pup, take him to a shelter. That's what, you don't just leave him in an airport terminal. That's not cool at
You
all.
got to love that too. It's like, where's the place that's most watched with the most cameras that I can secretly drop this dog off?
Yeah, exactly. Don't steal baggage either. Biden administration officials learned that the hard way. According to police, airline staff told the dog's owner she had not completed the required online forms to travel with the animal as a service dog, denied her a boarding pass, and she left the dog behind. Okay, I thought this was just, let's abandon the dog. No, wasn't allowed on the plane with the dog. So just said, let's leave at the airport. I'll come get him in a few days.
So even more records of who she was.
Yeah, they got travel documentation. Crazy stuff. Police said the woman claimed the dog had a tracking device, implying it was acceptable to leave the animal behind. I'll just come back for it. No, you know what that's like? I'm going on vacation. I'll leave the kids home with the alarm on, right? It'll be fine. It'll be fine. Authorities allege she became hostile, resisted officers' attempt to detain her. Oh, you think? After all this? Wow. Anyways, after they got this dog to a better home, and now the dog looks like he's smiling. Oh, isn't that cute? They took care of it. They said the sweet boy is incredible, truly incredible. And after everything he's been through, the thought of experiencing abandonment again, we couldn't deal with it, so we adopted him. I love it. We'll be back tomorrow with State of the Union and more insane stories and more exciting guests. You've been listening to The Ari Hoffman Show on Talk Radio 570 KVI.